Hello everyone, how are we doing on this grey morning in Manchester? We're going to look at all the latest news and transfer news coming out of Manchester United. The transfer window is now closed and our business is done, so we can't do anything from here moving forward. So some stories are breaking about what potentially could happen in terms of the Saudi Pro League closing. Maybe I think the Turkish League still open. We'll look at a little bit of information about who could potentially come in from the youth ranks from Manchester United's youth team to maybe help us bolster that midfield area should we need it, if we get injuries, etc. A little bit on Mason Mount, a little bit on Cunha, a little bit on Antony that has come out, and a few other little bits as well, stuff to do with kind of multi-club ownership, which is all very, very interesting. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. I'm Keith, the host of this little channel. If you're enjoying the content, really appreciate it. If you could hit the thumbs up button or the like button, that would be absolutely brilliant. Helps the channel out. And if you could subscribe and you're enjoying the content, get your thoughts in below, and anything I talk about would be great. But let's start and look at the latest news coming out. And this was news coming out about Onana. And apparently, according to Sport Pete O, he's got quite a lot of followers on X, over 100,000. Apparently, Manchester United could sell Onana to the Saudi Pro League in order to reshuffle their goalkeeping department. The Saudi transfer window is still open until the 23rd of September. Now, what do you think? Do you think out there, people think that we can sell Onana? Do you think this is just paper talk? Now that the transfer window is closed, we do have 4 goalkeepers. We need to get rid of one. Tom Heaton is probably a backup to the backup. I think he's probably more there in a coaching capacity, or maybe he should be on a coaching wage. Maybe he's there just to kind of help the other goalkeepers out. I say that because I don't think he's going to play. Bayinda, who's the number 1, we heard that Le Mans, I'm not entirely sure how you say it, isn't going to come in as the number 1. So that means Onana and Bayinda are still fighting for that 1 position. But can we move Onana on? Is there rumor? Is this just rumor from the Saudi Pro League? There is time to get a deal done. There was rumors of that Onana was linked with them earlier in the window, but he never went because he thought he could stay and fight for his position. Now he's been absolutely dreadful, and I don't think he deserves to stay. I don't think he deserves to play in nets ever again after the way he performed the other night. Goalkeepers can have bad performances, I get it. But unfortunately, he's had a sustained period of sort of mistakes after mistake, and the lack of confidence that's coming from him, which bleeds into the back line, which causes us problems across the entire pitch. And for those particular reasons, for me, technically, Onana's not good enough. He doesn't really come for crosses. He does a little bit more than Bayinda. Bayinda flaps a lot. But I think Bayinda's a better goalkeeper in terms he's better with his feet. He's also better with his feet. He's also better with, his shot stopping in general. But, we're pulling teeth here because Onana's not great at any of that stuff at the minute. He lost all his confidence. The goalkeeper that we did buy from Inter Milan, it's not the same keeper that we have now. Very much been maybe dragged down by the club, like other players have been dragged down by the club. But unfortunately, I think it's his time to go. Bayinda, maybe he's the number 2. Sammy Le Mans, can he come in and do a job? Is he going to be thrust into that City game? I don't know. I just don't think United are going to take the chance of throwing him into that City game, because it is a massive risk. I personally would do it. And if he makes a mistake, we have to deal with it. Is it going to be a costly mistake? Oh, well, it could be. But, what's the likelihoods of Onana or Bayinda making the same mistake? Highly likely on the recent form. So, whoever you choose, it's a risk. Samuel Lemens because he hasn't played in the Premier League. Onana because he can't save anything. Bayinda because he can save some stuff, but if corners come in, he's really, really going to struggle. And the backline haven't figured out how to help defend with him to get the corners nullified. So that's where we are with that. But let's see what happens. Do I think Onana will go? Now, if he wants to play in the World Cup and he's not going to get minutes at Manchester United, then I think maybe he will consider this. But I think it's purely a consideration at this minute. I actually don't think there'll be anything else in it. Maybe when we get closer to the time and we see a little bit more about who's actually in goal for Manchester United, if Lemens is in goal, then maybe Onana will just see this as a way out, and maybe he will take the deal. Maybe we'll clear the wages. I think he's on about 140k a week. Maybe we can clear another set of big wages, which would be quite helpful to us. And we can look forward. But 23rd of September, let's keep an eye on what happens between now and then, see if this is just a whole lot of hullabaloo. Now, Sekou Kone is currently Manchester United's 6th choice midfielder. Potentially fifth as Mason Mount is more suited to the attacking role. Kone is expected to gain experience with the senior squad and could make his debut this season. So, Sekou Kone obviously got injured very early doors playing for the under-21s. I think it was the under-20. Yeah, it was for the under-21s. He got injured. Facial injury or head injury, very, very bad blow to the head. Just coming back now, and will potentially get the opportunity to play in the squad. Very, very highly rated, but being highly rated is one thing. Actually coming into that Manchester United midfield and having to perform at the highest level in the highest league in the world, one of the highest leagues in the world, that's debatable. But I think it's going to be quite difficult for the kid to come in and have to make an unbelievable impact because there's going to be so much riding on him. And I just think a lot of pressure on the kid straight away. It's going to make it difficult for him. If he doesn't perform and his confidence goes, we're back to square one. We're back to the same old midfielders that we have. Ugarte probably needs to run of games now, and he needs to find a little bit of form. Casemiro hasn't quite got the legs. Bruno was in discipline, as we've already spoke about. And so Kobe Manu is probably the one key factor that we need to keep. We need to maybe build a team around, and hopefully that is something that can happen going forward. But again, a lot of responsibility on another kid, massive responsibility. And I don't know, but let's have to see how this goes. Very, very interesting. But let's keep an eye on Sekou Kone. Let's see if he actually makes his full team debut this season. Okay, that's the news on those two. Then we've got some other news, and Manchester United won't be appealing against the decision where Grimsby had fielded an ineligible player for the Carabao Cup tie. Do I think they should? Look, it's 50-50. They have broke the rules, and rules are there not to be broke. You're meant to kind of follow by the rules. They didn't. The lad did play on the pitch. He did miss a penalty, so and he was involved in the game. So it's I don't know. From a moralistic standpoint, maybe you don't, and you just accept the fact that a better team beat you on the night. From a financial standpoint, maybe you want to try and fight and get yourself back in, but Manchester United made the decision to not enter the race of trying to get back into the Carabao Cup, and they've left it at that. So I think that's where we are on that one. I don't think there's anything more to report if anything changes. I think there's a certain amount of time before we can make a decision on that. There's 5 days or something, so let's see if we change anything, but I don't think we are going to. We're out of that cup. We deserve to be out of that cup, and Grimsby deserve to go through. Okay, and the next story is Antony's coming out and speaking now. He did have a video on social media that he was in tears at Real Betis's revealing, and talked about living in a hotel room and training by himself, etc. I mean, boo-hoo, you've made the decision that you wanted to go to this club. Other clubs were in for you. You could have made other choices, but you decided you wanted to hold out. They weren't prepared to pay the fee that Manchester United want. So yeah, I feel for you in one sense, because you did go away and you did play well for them, and you made a very, very great contribution to the end of their particular season last season, but they weren't prepared to pay us what we wanted. So in the end, we got a deal done. And unfortunately, Antony, as he says here, he rejected a bid from Bayern Munich, and he was offered more money, but he wanted to stay and show his respect for the appreciation that people had at Real Betis, and he felt he had to make that choice. So there you go. That's Antony for you. He's gone, and that was that little bit of news. Don't really care now about him. He's done and dusted. A little bit on Cunha and Mount. Cunha's injury isn't as bad as first thought, which is great news. Could potentially be involved for the derby, whether he's fully fit or on off the bench, I don't know. But fingers crossed. Mason Mount slightly different. Mason Mount is definitely out for about 3 weeks. Now, what this could mean is Mason Mount has been out before, and he could potentially be out for even longer, because we know his track record isn't very, very good, and it's highly frustrating because he's had a good start to the season. But if he gets through, if we lose him for even half this season, he's got to go at the end of next year. Good player, very good player when he's on his day, but I'm sick of this on his day, seems like Shaw. No, not fit enough. You've United. He'll have had 3 years at that particular juncture. Time to move him on and look at bringing someone else in to fit the bill, or maybe Joshua Resorchi will get the chance to step up the season and fill that void. But just a hope for his sake and United's sake that if it is 3 weeks, it's 3 weeks, and it's not an extended period after that, and we can get him back, because he will be valuable to us this season if he can stay fit. But his injury record has been terrible since he came to Manchester United. Sketchy before he came here, and we've outlaid a lot of money on him. So I think we will have to look at see how that goes. But yeah, so mixed news on the old injury front. And then the final bit of news that we have is one that I don't actually have a slide for. It was to do with multi-club ownership, and that was the sporting director from Nice had spoke with Manchester United about potentially trying to do deals between them over the summer period. Nothing materialised, and they said they're just starting to build this relationship now. So maybe this is something that we can look at going forward. But at the minute, yeah, there unfortunately wasn't anything that we could actually do about it. But yeah, so be interesting. Let's keep an eye on the multi club ownership situation. See whether we're because Chelsea have sold players to Strasbourg and brought them back, etc. Is that something that Manchester United are going to do going forward with Nice? Because obviously Sir Jim Ratcliffe is part owner of that club. Anyway, that's all your news this morning. Thank you very much for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. I've missed a few days. I fully understand people are not probably watching as much as they should be, so I've got to make sure I pony up my act and get better at this. If you've stuck around to the end, I really, really appreciate it. Please hit the old like button. Please get your thoughts on anything I've talked about. Do you think Sekou Kone can help us? Do you think, what do you make of Antony and his tears? I mean, probably most people don't care. And should United sell under Onana, or should they try and get a way to move him out to the Saudi League and at least get one goalkeeper off the roster, because they probably do. Your thoughts would be very much appreciated. Get them in below. And yeah, I shall see you tomorrow.